Are you wondering when your son should start the college football recruiting process? And are you tired of hearing different timelines? Are you worried about him being left behind if he starts too late while the other 1.1 million football players get ahead? If you do a Google search, you'll be told to wait until his junior year, or even worse, to leave it to the high school coach. Well, in this video, I'm gonna put all this nonsense to rest and show you exactly when to start the recruiting process and what to do at every stage, from middle school all the way to his senior way. This way, your son will stand out and build strong relationships with college coaches early to maximize his chances of earning the best scholarships possible. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Richie Contartesi. I'm the founder of Next Play, and I specialize in transforming driven varsity football players into confident businessmen, where 83% of our athletes earn college football scholarships and 42% go Division I. And I make these videos because I understand the struggle firsthand. At just 5'7" and 150 pounds, I secured a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss. Now I want to share my journey and the lessons I learned with you so you can live your dream as well. Now let's start with middle school. And you might be surprised that I even am starting with middle school, but with the rise of social media and the internet and personal brands, it's better to start with social media as early as possible. Social media takes time. It takes time to develop the skills of being able to post. It takes time to build a following. It takes time to get good at it. And the earlier you start, the better. When it comes to social media in middle school, the most important thing to do is to begin posting. And you could start just by posting 2 to 3 days a week. And it could be anything from your Little League video that your parents recorded on the sideline, or if you're a parent that you're recording. It could be as simple as the food that you're eating, the workouts that you're doing, the footwork that you're doing. You just want to get in the habit of actually posting and doing it consistently every single week. If you also want to get the most exposure possible and really focus on building a personal brand long term, then I would also suggest using social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and Facebook as well. There's some really cool tools out there like Repurpose.io and our CRM, where you can post one time and it'll post that same post to all the different platforms. If you're not sure what to post, I will link a video in the description where I share exactly what and how and when to post. Also in middle school is a great opportunity to learn the entire recruiting process. Everything from the NCAA rules to understanding all the different divisions and the kind of stereotype players that fit within those divisions, as well as just understanding the NCAA rules. The better you understand them, the easier it's gonna be for you when you are doing outreach, reaching out to coaches, contacting them, and building relationships. At this stage, you're probably going to spend roughly 2 hours a week on the recruiting process, but this is a great opportunity to get started, get ahead, and begin learning the tools of social media and how to use them. Which brings us to the summer before your 9th grade year. The first step is to set a goal based on a real, true evaluation of your son. I would suggest getting a real professional evaluation versus just asking former players or trainers or even potentially a high school football coach. Nothing wrong with it, but getting a real evaluation from somebody who has 10 to 15 years of Division I or college football recruiting experience specifically is going to give you a way different evaluation than a trainer or a former player or someone who just thinks that they understand who should be playing at what level of college football. Now, the purpose of this evaluation is to really get an understanding of where your son is right now. What's his height? What's his weight? Where are you located? What is his Little League or 7-on-7 or whatever film he has at this point? It's not about grading his film like you would a varsity football player. It's about looking at his movement. How does he move? What position is he potentially going to be best at? Based on where he's at right now and the potential growth that he has, what are the top 50 to 60 schools that he can start targeting now? This is something you're gonna do your freshman year. You're not gonna wait until your junior year to start doing outreach. Believe it or not, you're gonna start doing it your freshman year, even before you have game film. Now, I also strongly suggest shooting for Division I, even if you don't fit the mold right now. And I'm gonna link a video in the description below on why it's so important to shoot for Division I and what it does for you mentally. So over the next 4 to 5 years, your son will have the best opportunities possible, whether it's Division I or not. Now, based on this evaluation, you'll have 50 to 60 schools that you are going to target. And I highly suggest picking your top 1 to 2 schools on that big board and print out the requirements needed. This is gonna be your goal. And you're gonna print this out, you're gonna put it on your bathroom, you're gonna put it on the back of your door, you're gonna put it on your locker, everywhere you go, so that you're constantly looking at what your goal is. There was a really cool study done that showed if you write down your goal and you look at it every day, you have a 42% greater chance of achieving it. This is just overall a really good thing for a 9th grader to do, just to learn the power of goal setting and focus. Step 2, you absolutely wanna continue posting on social media. That doesn't change. And step 3, you're gonna start reaching out to college coaches. Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is, oh, well, my son can't talk to coaches until June 15th, going into their junior year. And this is true, coaches can't contact you until then. But your son can reach out to college coaches anytime, starting when he's 4 years old if he wanted to.
Nice.
So the sole purpose of reaching out to college coaches at this point is to get in the habit of reaching out and asking a very simple question, which is, who's the area coach at your school responsible for recruiting your specific area? That's all you're doing. This is purely effort. You can do this as a 9th grader, and you don't need game film. We're taking those top 50 to 60 schools that are on your son's big board based on his evaluation, and we're now just gonna find out who the area coach is. This is why it's so important to get a professional evaluation, because if you choose the wrong 50 to 60 schools, you could spend a whole year or 2 wasting your time reaching out to the wrong schools. And at this point, you're gonna be spending roughly 2 to 3 years on the recruiting process. Which moves us to after your freshman football season. At this point, you're gonna create your first highlight video. You're gonna use footage from the freshman team, JV, or if you played on varsity. And then depending on the film you have will dictate what you do in the outreach process, whether you just continue reaching out to schools and finding the area coach, or if you begin pitching these area coaches and showing them your highlight video. And at this point, you're gonna continue to spend about 2 to 3 hours a week. Now moving to your sophomore year, we're gonna continue focusing on the same things you did as a freshman. The posting, the outreach, all of that is going to stay the same. However, once you're done with your sophomore football season, we're gonna go back, and I highly suggest doing another professional evaluation. This is gonna be really important to see where your son is today versus where he was a year ago. It's also gonna allow us to properly set up your highlight video based on the new footage you have from your sophomore year, and making sure that we have the right information to put in front of coaches. This will also allow you to adjust those top 50 to 60 schools on your big board based on where your son's at now and the new potential of where he could be. During this time, you may also consider going to camps. Now, I have a whole process that I share on how to validate camps and make sure that camp invites are real and that they're seriously interested in you, so you're not traveling around the country wasting a bunch of time and money, that I'll link in the description below as well. At this point, you probably are gonna be spending more like 3 to potentially 4 hours a week on the recruiting process. Which brings us to your junior year. Just like before, you're gonna continue doing outreach to coaches, you're gonna continue posting, and now you're gonna continue building relationships with the area coaches that you now have. Continuing to send them the video that you have from your sophomore year, or now you're gonna send them the new video that you're gonna make your junior year. So after your junior year football season, you're gonna create another highlight video. I highly suggest doing another evaluation. So we may potentially need to add schools to your big board, or you may need to take them off your big board, but you're still continuing to build relationships with all the area coaches that you've found. This is so critical and so important because you never know. One area coach at a small school can all of a sudden get a position coach at a very big school, and you've built a relationship with them. They're still interested in you, and so you want to continue those relationships. This is also when you're going to start developing the skill of being able to sell yourself and tell your story. You have more content now from your freshman, your sophomore, and your junior year, and you gotta start learning how to tell your story to college coaches to get them to watch your video, and once they've watched your video, ultimately offer you a visit. You're also going to add in making phone calls and having phone calls with coaches, especially now that they can contact you. The timeline is starting to shrink on when you can get offers, especially for bigger Division I programs, so you're gonna incorporate actually making calls to college coaches. And after your junior year season, this is when you should really start being able to compile some offers, whether it's Division II, NAIA, or even FCS, G5, or Power 4 Division I offers. During your junior year, you're gonna be spending at least roughly 4 to 5 hours a week on the recruiting process. Which finally brings us to your senior year. We're definitely gonna continue all the things that we've been doing before: the posting, the reaching out to college coaches, the building relationships, the continuing to pitch and sell yourself to college coaches, going to camps and maybe going on official visits. All of this will remain the same. However, going into your senior year, we highly suggest doing one more evaluation. This will give you the opportunity to really look at your big board of 50, 60 schools, make sure you're targeting the right schools based on where you're at right now and your potential based on what could happen during the season. This way, if you need to reach out to additional schools, maybe you've been focusing on FCS and now you're gonna focus on G5 Division I schools or G5 to Power 4 schools, it's really important that you continue to get an evaluation every year so that you know where you're at in the recruiting process and that you're targeting the right schools and giving yourself the best opportunity to play at the highest level possible. And lastly, after the season, December is early signing day, and you also have the latter signing day, which is in February. And this is hopefully when it's time for you to make a tough decision. And that first half of senior year flies by. It goes by really fast. So getting yourself prepared and set up before your senior year, your junior year, your freshman year, your sophomore year, obviously the earlier you start, the better, but I also don't want you to get discouraged if you're going into your senior year and you're saying it's too late. It's never too late to start if you truly want to earn a college football scholarship. Our goal when we work with athletes, however, is that in that period in December or potentially in February, that the family has a very tough decision to make on which school and offer to accept. During your senior year, expect to spend at least 5 hours a week on the recruiting process, sometimes more, especially if you're gonna be doing a lot of visits. Now, I created a workbook for you to go along through this entire process. So all the way from middle school to your senior year, there's a checklist of the things that you need to do at each stage to make sure that you're doing the right things at the right time. And of course, it's free for you to download. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, if you got value from this video and you'd like to see more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you'd like to watch a video on how to post, what to post, when to post, then you're gonna wanna watch this video right here.